Humble waiter gets stuck in an elevator with a widowed executive. When the doors open, Tyler Johnson was heading back to the hotel kitchen when the elevator abruptly stopped between the 12th and 13th floors. Beside him, an elegant blonde woman sighed impatiently, glancing at the gold watch on her wrist. The young waiter tried pressing the emergency button, but the red light only blinked without making a sound. His fingers trembled slightly as he adjusted the black vest of his uniform. "Just perfect, as if I needed this," murmured Catherine Bennett, crossing her arms over her dark blazer. Her blue eyes flashed with irritation as she typed something on her phone. "I'm sorry, ma'am. I'll try calling reception," said Tyler, pulling out a simple device from his pocket. "No signal," she replied curtly, shaking her own phone in the air. The silence between them grew heavy. Tyler recognized Catherine by sight. Every employee at the Grand Monarch Hotel knew who the CEO of New York City's largest construction firm was. She had been coming to the hotel for 3 years, always alone, always serious, always flawless. Catherine studied the young man from the corner of her eye. He couldn't have been more than 28, slender, with a kind expression on his tanned face. There was something refined in his manner, unlike other employees who shrank in her presence. "How long have you worked here?" she asked, breaking the silence. 2 years, ma'am, in the events and banquet hall. "And before that?" Tyler hesitated. He wasn't used to guests asking personal questions. "I was studying, ma'am, at university." Catherine raised an eyebrow. There was something in his polite speech that piqued her curiosity. "What did you study?" "Architecture," he replied, lowering his gaze. "But I had to drop out in my 4th year." The executive turned fully toward him. Architecture was her field. How many talented young people had she known who gave up their dreams for lack of resources? "Why did you leave?" Tyler shrugged, clearly uncomfortable with the topic. "My mother got sick. Someone had to work to pay for her medicine." The words echoed in the small space. Catherine felt a tightening in her chest that she tried to ignore. She remembered how often she'd heard similar stories, but always from a distance, always as numbers in reports. "And your father?" "We haven't spoken in years. He left when he found out about my mother's illness." The simple answer carried years of pain. Catherine knew the sting of abandonment well, though for different reasons. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. The elevator gave a slight shudder, making them both brace against the walls. Tyler noticed Catherine carried an expensive leather briefcase with a few folded papers sticking out. "You always come here alone," he said without thinking. "Sorry, I didn't mean to pry." Catherine studied him for a moment. It had been an observation, not an invasive question. "Work meetings," she answered after a pause. "It's more practical that way." "I understand. It must be hard to trust people when you have big responsibilities." The words caught Catherine off guard. She hadn't expected a young waiter to understand the loneliness of power. "Are you married?" she asked, changing the subject. "No, ma'am, no time for relationships. Between work and taking care of my mother." "Does your mother live with you?" "In a small apartment in Queens. It's tiny, but we make do." Catherine pictured the young man returning home after serving executives in lavish halls, only to tend to a sick mother in a cramped space. The image unsettled her more than it should have. "What's her illness?" Tyler hesitated again. Discussing personal problems with an important client felt wrong. "Heart issues. She's had 2 surgeries, but the medications are expensive. And you've shouldered all of it alone." It wasn't a question. Catherine knew the weight of carrying responsibilities. "I do what I have to do," Tyler said simply. "She raised me alone, worked as a cleaner her whole life to put me through school. Now it's my turn to take care of her." The words struck something deep in Catherine. She thought of her own mother, who had spent the last 5 years in an expensive nursing home, visited just once a month. "Do you see her every day?" "When I can. Sometimes I stay too late here and arrive when she's already asleep, but I always leave a note on the fridge. Catherine felt her eyes well up and turned away to hide her emotion. How long had it been since she'd written a heartfelt note to someone? How long since she'd shown affection in such a simple way? Note saying what? Silly things. Tyler smiled for the first time. That I love her, that her medicine is on the table, that I recorded the show she likes, mother and son stuff. The silence that followed was different, less tense, more reflective. My husband used to leave notes, Catherine said, the words slipping out before she could stop them. Stuck them on the bathroom mirror so I'd see them in the morning. Tyler noticed she'd used the past tense but said nothing, respecting her pain. He must have been a special person. He was, far more than I deserved. I'm sure that's not true. Catherine looked him straight in the eye. There was absolute sincerity in his words. You don't know me, you don't know what I'm capable of. I know you're here on a Thursday night working. I know you carry a responsibility few people could handle, and I know you're hurting. The observation was so sharp that Catherine felt her defenses crumble. How can you tell? I recognize the look. It's the same one I see in the mirror every morning. She studied the young face before her. There was a maturity there, forged by hardship. How old are you? 29. You seem older. Life ages you from the inside first. Catherine nodded. At 47, she felt far older than her years. How long have you been widowed? The question came naturally, without the earlier formality. 3 years, and you? How long have you been caring for your mother alone? 5 years, since her first heart attack. Was it hard to drop out of college? Tyler took a deep breath before answering. Every day I think about what could have been different, but I don't regret it. She sacrificed so much for me. And you never thought of going back? I do, but now I'm 29, with no savings and a mother who needs me. Not exactly the student profile universities look for. Catherine knew several people who'd returned to school after 30. She knew about scholarships, loans, opportunities, but she stayed quiet. She didn't want to sound patronizing. Do you regret anything? Tyler asked. The question caught her off guard. Now it was her turn to reflect. Many things, mostly not appreciating what I had while it was within reach. Your husband? My husband, my parents, friends. I thought work was everything. That professional success would make up for any personal sacrifice. And it doesn't. Catherine looked at her hands. She still wore her wedding ring even after 3 years. You come home and have no one to tell about your day. No one who cares if you ate, if you're okay, if you need anything. You have money to buy everything, but no one to share it with. I'm sorry. And you? Do you regret anything? Tyler thought for a few seconds. I regret not cherishing more moments with my mom when she was healthy. I was always studying, always chasing something. Now that she's fragile, I realize how much time we've lost. But you're taking care of her now. I am, but sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, if I shouldn't have found a way to balance everything better. Catherine recognized the guilt in his voice. It was the same one that gnawed at her every day. I think we all carry that feeling, that we could have done things differently. True, but at least you built something. I just survive one day at a time. I built walls, Catherine said bitterly, literally and figuratively. My company constructs buildings, but I erected barriers between myself and everyone who tried to get close. But there must be people who care about you. Employees who depend on their paychecks. Clients who need my services. No one who cares about me as a person. The elevator shook again, harder this time. Both held onto the side rails. How long have we been here? Catherine asked. Tyler checked his watch. Almost an hour. Will anyone miss you? My mother. I always call her at 9 in the evening. If I don't, she'll worry. Catherine looked at her own watch. It was 8:40. What about you? Will anyone come looking for you? No, I should have been home 2 hours ago, but no one's waiting for me. The answer echoed in the small space. Two people trapped, each carrying their own emotional prisons. Can I ask how your husband? Tyler hesitated, unsure if he should continue. Car accident, coming back from a business trip. Ironically, He was going to pick up a surprise for me. It was our wedding anniversary. I'm sorry. That must have been so hard. The hardest part was realizing I spent the last years of our marriage more worried about meetings than him. I cancelled 3 romantic dinners that month because of work. Tyler stayed silent, respecting her pain. And now he's not here for me to make it up to him. I can't go back and choose differently. But you can choose differently from now on. Catherine looked at him, surprised. What do you mean? With your mother, your employees, people who are still here, there's still time to do things differently. The simplicity of his observation was devastating. Catherine realized she'd spent 3 years punishing herself for the past instead of trying to build something better in the present. Easier said than done. I agree. I struggle to change things that bother me too. Like what? My pride, for example. Plenty of people have offered to help with my mother's expenses, but I always refuse. I'd rather work myself to death than accept charity. That's not necessarily bad. It shows character. Or stubbornness. Sometimes accepting help could give me more time to spend with her. Catherine thought about her own employees. How many times had people tried to get close, and she'd taken it as self-interest or flattery? I think we both have trouble trusting people. True, but for different reasons. Tell me. Tyler leaned against the wall, more relaxed now. In my case, I grew up watching my mother get exploited by her bosses. She worked harder than anyone, but always earned less. I learned early that people take advantage of those with less power. And I learned the opposite, Catherine said. I grew up watching people get close to my parents because of money. I never knew if their interest was genuine or calculated. Were your parents wealthy? They were. My father had a smaller company than the one I have today. My mother came from an old money family. I always had everything materially, but something emotional was missing. Exactly. They divorced when I was 15. Both remarried younger people. I became an inconvenient reminder of a past they wanted to forget. Tyler felt a tightness in his chest. He knew the feeling of abandonment well, though under different circumstances. Is that how you became so independent? That's how I learned I can only rely on myself. But your husband managed to break through that barrier. Catherine smiled for the first time since they'd entered the elevator. He did. He was persistent and patient. It took 2 years for me to accept our first date. How did you meet? He was an engineer on one of my projects, always questioning my design, suggesting improvements. I found it irritating at first, but he was right. Always. And he treated me as an equal, not as his boss. He was the first person who argued with me because he disagreed, not out of fear or flattery. That must have been liberating. It was. With him I could just be Catherine, not the successful executive. I could have doubts, fears, silly dreams. What kind of silly dreams? Catherine hesitated. It had been so long since she'd talked about this. Having children, a simple home, traveling without thinking about work, things any normal person would want. Why didn't you have children? The question brought back an old pain. We tried for 3 years, spent a fortune on treatments. When we finally succeeded, I lost the baby in the 5th month. Tyler felt his heart tighten. I'm so sorry. After that, I buried myself even deeper in work. It was the only way not to think about the loss. Richard tried to help, but I shut down completely. And he was patient with that too. He was, until the end. Even when I cancelled romantic trips to close deals. Even when I came home at 2 in the morning and left by 6. He kept trying until his last day. You know it wasn't your fault, right? The loss, the accident. Catherine looked him in the eyes. For the first time in 3 years, someone said it with enough conviction that she almost believed it. Rationally, I know. Emotionally, it's harder. I understand. How could you understand? You're so young. Because I carry similar guilt. Every time my mother has an episode, I wonder if it's because of the stress I cause by working so much. Every time she takes her medicine, I think if I were a better son, maybe she wouldn't need it. Catherine realized they were more alike than she'd thought. Both carried burdens too heavy for their shoulders. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, Don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Has your mother ever told you what she thinks about it? She always says I'm the best son she could have, that she's proud of me, but she's my mother, right? She has to say that. Not necessarily. I know mothers who don't hold back criticism. Is yours like that? Catherine laughed bitterly. My mother barely remembers I own a company. On the rare occasions we talk, she asks when I'll find a new husband and give her grandchildren. She doesn't know you lost a baby. She knows, but in her mind it was so long ago. I should have moved on by now. How insensitive. It's her generation. They don't show feelings, don't talk about pain. They solve everything by pretending it never happened. My mother's the opposite. Talks about everything, cries over anything, hugs me 3 times a day. Sometimes it's even too much. Catherine felt a pang of envy. Must be nice to have someone who shows love like that. It is. Even when she annoys me, I know it's because she cares. Richard was like that too. Left notes, brought flowers for no reason, made up silly celebrations. Like what? Day of getting to know you better. Month of being happy for no reason. 6-month anniversary of our first kiss. I thought it was all too sentimental. And now? Now I'd give anything for one more day of silly sentimentality with him. The elevator shuddered again. This time the lights flickered before steadying. I think the problem's serious, Tyler said, pressing the emergency button once more. They'll probably take a while to get us out of here. Do you have any important commitments today? Always, but for the first time in years, I don't mind missing a meeting. Tyler smiled. Same. I usually get anxious when I can't stick to schedules. Today feels different. Why? Maybe because I'm talking to someone who understands certain things. Catherine nodded. It had been a long time since she'd felt understood by another person. Can I ask you a personal question? She said. Of course. Did you ever resent it, having to give up your dreams for your mother? Tyler thought before answering. Of course, especially in the first few months. I watched my classmates graduate, get jobs in the field, build careers. It was painful. How did you move past it? I realized she never asked me to give up anything. It was my choice, and that taking care of her also taught me important things. Like what? Patience, responsibility, the importance of little things. I learned more about architecture by watching how she organized our small house to be functional than in many college classes. Catherine was impressed by the maturity of his answer. Have you ever thought about tutoring? To earn extra money and stay connected to the field? I have, but who'd hire an architect who didn't graduate? Someone who needed practical knowledge, not a degree. Many people renovate homes and don't need a licensed professional, just someone competent. Tyler had never considered that possibility. That might be an interesting idea. I'm sure it is. You speak from experience. You have real skills with small spaces. You know how to work on a tight budget. Those are valuable skills. Would you hire someone like that? Catherine studied him for a moment. I'd hire you. Even without knowing me professionally? I know your character, and sometimes that's worth more than a degree. The words touched Tyler deeply. It had been years since anyone showed that kind of trust in him. Thank you. That means a lot to me. It's true. You have a way of speaking that inspires confidence. My mother always said honesty is the best introduction. Your mother sounds like a wise woman. She is. She only finished 5th grade, but she understands people better than any psychologist. Catherine thought of her own mother, a literature graduate who had never understood her daughter. Education and wisdom are different things. Exactly. You seem to have both. I have formal education, wisdom. I'm still learning. Everyone is. At least that's what my mother says. Catherine smiled. She was starting to like Tyler's mother's philosophies. Does she have other pearls of wisdom? Plenty. Money buys comfort, not happiness. Good people don't need to prove they're good. True love is when someone sees you crying and doesn't walk away. That last one is beautiful. Yeah, She said it when the doctor told her she'd need special care, said I could leave and she'd understand, but she'd be happy if I chose to stay. And you chose to stay. I did, and I don't regret it. Catherine felt her eyes well up again. When was the last time someone chose to stay by her side without self-interest? You're lucky to have a mother like that. I am, and she's lucky to have a daughter-in-law who loves her. What do you mean? Tyler turned red. Sorry, that was stupid. It's just, she always jokes that you'd be perfect for me. Catherine looked at him, confused. What do you mean your mother talks about me? She comes here sometimes, for Wednesday afternoon tea. It's a treat we can afford once a month as a gift for her. And she sees me here. Yes, and she always comments that you look like an elegant but sad woman, that you have the eyes of someone who's lost something important. Catherine was stunned. A stranger had noticed her pain from afar. She said that? Yes, and that sad people need kindness, not more loneliness. Your mother is very observant. Yeah, and she has a huge heart, always wants to help everyone. Like how? She knits to donate to the hospital where she gets treated, cooks for sick neighbors. Even without money, she finds ways to care for others. Catherine felt small. With all the resources she had, she couldn't remember the last time she'd genuinely helped someone. She must be worried about you right now. Tyler checked his watch again. Probably, but she'll understand. She always does. You're lucky. Why don't you call someone to let them know you're okay? I don't have anyone to call. The answer echoed in the silence. Tyler's heart ached for her loneliness. Are you sure? I am. My employees wouldn't expect me to call them over a delay. My parents, well, we're not in regular contact. Friends. I lost touch with most of them when I threw myself into work after losing the baby. What about your husband's family? They blame me. Think if I'd paid more attention to him, the accident wouldn't have happened. That's unfair. Maybe, but it's what they believe, and part of me agrees with them. Tyler moved a little closer. Can I say something you might not want to hear? Go ahead. You're punishing yourself for something that wasn't your fault, and in the process, you're wasting the chance to honor his memory by living a life he'd want you to live. Catherine looked him in the eyes. The observation was sharp and painful. How can you be sure he'd want me to live differently? Because he loved you. And when you love someone, you want to see them happy, not destroying themselves with guilt. You make it sound simple. It's not simple, but it's necessary. Catherine stayed quiet for a few minutes, digesting his words. What about you? When was the last time you did something for yourself, not for your mother? Tyler thought. I don't remember. Then you're not so different from me. True. I'm also hiding behind obligations. At least yours are out of love, mine are out of fear. Fear of what? Of connecting with someone and losing them again. Of finding out I'm not an interesting person outside of work. Of realizing Richard loved me out of pity, not for who I was. That's nonsense. How can you be sure? Because even without knowing you well, I can see good qualities in you. And if I can, I'm sure he did too. What qualities? Tyler smiled. You ask smart questions. Really listen when people talk. You're compassionate, even when you try to hide it, and you're strong enough to carry responsibilities that would break most people. Catherine felt her cheeks warm. Thank you. It's true, maybe you just need to rediscover those qualities. And you need to rediscover that you're allowed your own dreams. Maybe. Definitely. The elevator shook again, more violently this time. They both held on tighter. I'm starting to get worried, Catherine said. Me too, but at least we're not alone. True, it'd be much worse to be here by myself. For me too. You're good company. Even though I'm a cold, calculating executive? Tyler laughed. You're not cold, just guarded. What's the difference? Cold people don't ask about others' lives. Don't show compassion for employees. Don't carry guilt for past mistakes. Catherine considered this. I've never thought of it that way. Sometimes we need outside perspectives to see ourselves clearly. True. You've made me think about things I've avoided for years. You too made me question if I'm being cowardly, using my mother as an excuse not to take risks. Taking care of her isn't cowardice. No, but using it as a reason to never try anything new might be. Catherine nodded. We're both stuck in comfort zones that aren't so comfortable. Exactly. The silence that followed was thoughtful. Both were processing revelations about themselves. Can I tell you a secret? Said Catherine. Of course. Sometimes I stay late at the office just so I don't have to go back to an empty house. I work extra shifts here for the same reasons, to keep from thinking about what could have been different. We're both running from loneliness. Seems that way. Catherine looked at Tyler with a different expression. There was mutual understanding there. Do you think people can change after they're grown? I do. My mother always says that as long as there's life, there's a chance to start over. More of her wisdom. Yes, she's an expert in second chances. That must be why she raised such a good son. Tyler was moved by the compliment. Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. Why? Because you're someone who's achieved important things. Your opinion carries weight. I've achieved material things. You've achieved something far more valuable. What? The genuine respect and love of someone who matters. Tyler felt his eyes grow moist. You can have that too. I don't know if there's still time. Of course there is. You're only 47. 47 years old. My mother always says life begins when we stop being afraid to live. Catherine smiled through the tears threatening to fall. Your mother really is wise. She is, and she'd be happy to meet you. You think so? I'm sure. She always wants to meet people who make me think. I made you think. You did, about many things I'd been avoiding. Catherine felt a strange sensation in her chest. It was hope, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. Tyler. Yes? Thank you. For what? For reminding me I can still be a better person than I am. You're already a good person, you just forgot. The elevator lights flickered again, this time staying dimmer. Looks like we'll be here a while longer, said Tyler. I don't mind. This is the best conversation I've had in years. For me too. Catherine glanced at the papers spilling from her briefcase. Want to know what these documents are? Only if you want to tell me. They're contracts to build an affordable housing complex, a project I've been considering for months. Why the hesitation? It's less profitable than commercial buildings. My partners think it's a waste of time. But you disagree. I do. It'd be a way to provide decent housing for families like yours. Tyler's heart raced. Really? Really? 2-bedroom apartments with recreational spaces near public transit. Affordable for those earning up to 5 minimum wages. That would be amazing. So many people need an opportunity like that. That's what I think, but it's also financially risky. Not everything in life can be about money. Catherine looked at him, surprised. Easy to say when you have little to lose. True, but sometimes those with little to lose see more clearly what truly matters. And what truly matters? Leaving the world a little better than we found it. The simplicity of the answer struck Catherine deeply. You really believe that? I do. That's why I take care of my mother. That's why I work honestly. That's why I treat people well, even when they don't treat me well. And yet you doubt if you're doing enough. Everyone should doubt if they're doing enough. It's what pushes us to do better. Catherine considered this. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should sign these contracts. Why don't you? Fear of failing, of losing money, of being judged by my peers. And if it succeeds? If it succeeds, hundreds of families will have homes of their own. Seems worth the risk. Catherine looked at the documents again. Would you sign them? In your place, without a doubt. Even if it means risking a lot of money. Even so, some things are worth more than money. Like what? Peace of mind. the certainty that we're doing the right thing, the legacy we leave behind. Catherine felt determination growing inside her. Richard always said I should use my position to make a difference. He was right. He was, and maybe it's time to listen to his advice. Tyler smiled. I think he'd be proud. I hope so. Catherine took a pen from her purse and looked at the contracts. Do you really think I should sign? I think you already know the answer. That's true. I just needed courage. The courage is already there. It was just hiding behind fear. Catherine took a deep breath and signed the first contract, then the second, then the third. There, she said, putting the papers away. I just committed a fortune to a project that might fail. Or it might succeed beyond expectations. Or it might succeed beyond expectations, she repeated, smiling. How do you feel? Scared, anxious, but also hopeful. That's a good start. It is. And what about you? When will we see you go back to school? Tyler hesitated. I don't know if that's possible right now. Everything is possible. You just need to find the right way. How? There are night programs, online courses, scholarships for people in situations like yours. But I'd have to work less to study, and I can't afford to lose income. Catherine thought for a moment. What if there was a way for you to earn more while working fewer hours? How so? Consulting, private tutoring, specialized projects. With your knowledge, you could charge by the hour what you make here in a week. Tyler had never seriously considered it. You think someone would pay for my services? I'm sure of it, especially once you graduate. But it's a vicious cycle. I need to graduate to earn more, but I need to earn more to afford to graduate. Catherine had an idea but hesitated to speak. What is it? Tyler asked, noticing her expression. I had a thought, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate to suggest. Go ahead. What if I hired you as a consultant for the affordable housing project? You have experience with small spaces and tight budgets. You'd be perfect. Tyler was stunned. Are you serious? Completely. I'd pay you enough to reduce your hours here and still have time to study. But why? You barely know me. I know enough, and I trust my instincts. I can't accept charity. It's not charity, it's work. I'd need your expertise. You'd need the money. It's a fair exchange. Tyler felt tears welling up. This would completely change my life. Maybe it'll change mine too. How so? Having someone work with me who genuinely cares about the project, not just the profit. Someone who understands the needs of the people who live in those apartments. Tyler was trembling with emotion. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept. But what if I don't meet your expectations? Impossible. You have something they don't teach in school. Empathy. Thank you, he said, his voice breaking. Thank you so much. No need to thank me. I'm being selfish too. How so? I needed a reason to step out of my comfort zone. You gave me that reason. The elevator shook again, but this time neither of them flinched. They were focused on the moment. Your mother won't believe it when I tell her. Tell her first that you're going back to school. That's the most important part. That's true. She always dreamed of seeing me graduate. Then let's make her dream come true. Tyler smiled through his tears. And let's make some of your dreams come true too. Which ones? To make a difference. To honor your husband's memory. To connect with real people. Catherine felt an emotion she hadn't experienced in years. It was gratitude, pure and simple. I think this broken elevator was the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. For me, too. It's funny how sometimes we need to get stuck to set ourselves free. That's true. I'd been trapped for years and didn't even realize it. Me, too. The sound of voices outside interrupted the moment. Sounds like someone's coming to rescue us, said Catherine. What a shame, Tyler joked. I was enjoying the company. Me, too. Catherine. Yes? Promise me this won't end when the doors open? I promise, and you promise you won't give up on your dreams again? I promise. The noise of tools outside grew louder. I think they're almost done, Catherine said. I'm nervous. Why? What if out there I go back to just being the waiter and you go back to just being the executive? Catherine took his hand. That won't happen. Today, we discovered we're so much more than our jobs. That's true. We're people, with dreams, fears, stories, and people don't forget others who've touched them. Tyler squeezed her hand. You've touched me. You've touched me too. The sound of moving metal grew stronger. They'll open any second now, Catherine said. Ready for the real world? I am, and you? I think so. Good, because our partnership is just beginning, Tyler smiled. Can't wait to start the project. Can't wait to meet your mother. She'll be over the moon, and she can have afternoon tea here whenever she wants. On me. Tyler felt his eyes well up again. You don't have to. I want to. Special people deserve special treatment. Thank you. No need to thank me. It's the least I can do for someone who gave me the greatest gift in years. What gift? Hope. The noise stopped. A voice outside shouted, Get ready, we're opening it. Catherine and Tyler exchanged one last look inside the elevator. Ready? She asked. Ready. The doors slowly opened, revealing a small crowd of hotel staff, firefighters, and technicians. Phone flashes began to flicker. Catherine stepped out first with her usual elegant posture, but there was something different in her eyes, a light that hadn't been there before. Tyler followed, straightening his uniform, but he walked differently, taller, more confident. Ms. Bennett, a hotel manager called. Are you all right? 1,000 apologies for the inconvenience. I'm wonderful, Catherine replied. It was a very educational experience. She glanced at Tyler, who was being surrounded by co-workers. Mr. Johnson, she called, making everyone turn. Tyler approached. Yes, ma'am? I need to schedule a meeting with you tomorrow to discuss a job proposal. Silence fell. No one understood why a famous executive would want to meet with a waiter. It'd be my pleasure, Mom. Good. 9 a.m. in my office. My assistant will send the address. I'll be there. Catherine turned to the manager. I want this elevator thoroughly inspected, and I want to know how a problem like this went unnoticed. Yes, ma'am. Right away. And I want Mr. Johnson excused from his shift tomorrow. He has important commitments. Tyler smiled discreetly. Of course, ma'am. Catherine headed for the exit but stopped and looked back. Oh, and Mr. Johnson. Yes? Give your mother my regards. Tell her I'll meet her in person soon. I will. Good. Catherine walked out of the hotel with steady steps. For the first time in years, she was absolutely certain she was making the right decisions. Tyler stood in the lobby, processing everything that had happened. His co-workers bombarded him with questions, but he barely heard them. His life had completely changed in just a few hours, all because of an honest conversation with a woman who turned out to be far more human than she seemed. That night, Tyler came home earlier than usual. He found his mother watching TV in the small living room. You're home early today, son? Mom, I need to tell you something amazing. What is it? Remember that elegant lady you always talk about, from the hotel? The one who seemed sad, I remember. I talked to her today for hours. What do you mean? Tyler told her everything, from the broken elevator to the job offer. His mother cried, laughed, and got emotional. I knew it, she said at the end. I knew that woman had a good heart. Her eyes were asking for kindness. She wants to meet you. Really? Oh my God, what should I wear? Tyler laughed. She'll love you just the way you are, Mom. And you're really going back to school? Yes. With her help, I'll be able to balance work and studies. I'm so proud, son. Your father missed the greatest blessing in life when he decided to leave. Don't think about him. Think about the future. You're right. The future has never looked so bright. The next day, Tyler arrived at Catherine's office promptly at 9. The building was impressive, modern, with a view of the entire city. The secretary greeted him politely and led him to a meeting room. Catherine entered a few minutes later, wearing a navy blue suit and carrying a briefcase. Good morning, Tyler. Good morning, Catherine. She smiled when she noticed he called her by her first name. Did you sleep well? barely slept. I still can't believe this is happening. Believe it, and get ready because the work will be intense. Catherine opened the briefcase and showed blueprints, budgets, schedules. This is the project. 500 apartments across 4 towers, full leisure area, a children's school, a health clinic. Tyler studied the documents with the eyes of someone who understood the subject. It's ambitious. Yes. And I need someone to ensure it's functional for the families who'll live there. Can I make a few suggestions? Please. Tyler picked up a pencil and began sketching adjustments. He talked about space efficiency, natural ventilation, communal areas. Catherine watched him, fascinated. There was genuine passion in every stroke, in every explanation. Your ideas are excellent. Thank you. It's easy when you truly care about the outcome. That's why I want you on this project. They spent 2 hours refining details. When they finished, Catherine was absolutely certain she'd made the right choice. Well, Mr. Johnson, or can I call you my partner? Tyler's eyes widened. Partner. If this project succeeds, I want you to be my partner on the next ones. What do you think? I don't know what to say. Say you accept. I accept. Of course I accept. Catherine extended her hand. Then welcome to the team. Tyler shook her hand, feeling like he was living a dream. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for reminding me how to believe. In the months that followed, both their lives changed drastically. Tyler returned to university and found that life experience helped him greatly in his studies. He was the most engaged student in class. Catherine discovered that working on purposeful projects brought far more satisfaction than just making a profit. Tyler's mother and Catherine became close friends. Ms. Rose taught Catherine simple recipes, and Catherine discovered she loved cooking. Catherine treated Ms. Rose to small luxuries like massages and outings. The apartment project was an absolute success. The families who moved in threw an inauguration party and invited Catherine and Tyler as guests of honor. Look at what we built, Catherine said, watching children play on the playground Tyler had designed. We built much more than apartments. What did we build? Community, hope, better futures. Catherine smiled, seeing an elderly couple playing dominoes in the common area. And us? What did we build? Tyler looked at her. Over the past months, a deep friendship had grown between them, something that went beyond professional partnership. We built trust, mutual respect, something I can call a chosen family. Chosen family, I like that. I do too. They watch the happy families in their new homes. You know what's most amazing? Said Catherine. What? It all started because an elevator broke. Sometimes the best meetings happen at the most unexpected moments. That's true. If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be happy working on affordable housing alongside a former waiter. Former waiter who's almost a licensed architect, corrected Tyler, smiling. Former waiter who's almost a licensed architect and who became one of the most important people in my life. Tyler felt his heart race. You've become essential in my life too, Catherine. Really, really. You didn't just change my career. You changed how I see myself, how I dream, how I believe in the future. Catherine took his hand. And you taught me that success without human connection means nothing, that generosity multiplies joy, that second chances exist for those brave enough to take them. They held hands, watching the sunset through the windows of apartments where hundreds of families were starting new lives. Where do we go now? Asked Tyler. Up, always up. Together, always together. That night, during dinner at Tyler and Ms. Rose's modest home, Catherine announced plans for their next project, a community center with a library, vocational courses and event space. And who will coordinate the courses? Asked Ms. Rose. People from the community itself, replied Catherine. People who know the real needs, just like you taught me. That's wonderful, dear. That's how it should be. Tyler smiled, hearing his mother call Catherine dear. It was exactly how he felt, like they were all family. Mom, tell Catherine about your idea for the knitting group. Oh yes, Ms. Rose brightened. I thought about teaching knitting to the women in the building. We could make little clothes to donate to the maternity ward. I love that idea, said Catherine. Can I cover the yarn and needles? Of course, dear, you always can. After dinner, Catherine helped wash dishes for the first time in her life. It was a strange and wonderful feeling at once. Catherine, said Tyler, drying the plates. Thank you. For what this time? For making my mum feel important, for including her in the projects, for treating her like family. She is family. You both are my family now. Ms. Rose, listening from the living room, got emotional. You two are my greatest blessing, she called out. Catherine and Tyler laughed. I think she approves of our partnership, said Catherine. Approves and hopes it becomes something more. Catherine looked at Tyler, surprised. What do you mean? She thinks we have chemistry beyond work. Do we? Tyler stopped drying the plate and looked at her. You tell me. Catherine felt her heart race. For months, she'd tried to ignore her growing affection for Tyler. I think, maybe, yes. Just maybe. I'm scared, she admitted. Of ruining what we have. Of you realizing I'm too complicated. Catherine, yes. Remember what you told me in the elevator, about second chances? I do. Maybe it's time to apply that to yourself. Catherine smiled, tears of happiness in her eyes. You're right. I always am, he teased. Don't push it. Tyler stepped closer. Can I kiss you? I think it's long overdue. The kiss was gentle, full of tenderness and promises for the future. When they pulled apart, they heard clapping from the living room. Finally, Ms. Rose shouted. I was starting to think you two were blind. Catherine and Tyler laughed, holding each other. I think we have her approval, said Catherine. Definitely. And now? Now we build one more thing together. What? A love that lasts forever. Catherine smiled through her tears. I like that project. It's the most important one of all. A year later, Tyler graduated with a degree in architecture. Catherine made sure to be in the front row at the ceremony, alongside Ms. Rose. When his name was called, he stepped onto the stage and dedicated his diploma to the two women who taught me it's never too late to start over. Catherine cried with pride. Ms. Rose did too. After the ceremony, they celebrated at the same hotel where it all began. Tyler had specifically requested they take the elevator that had brought them together. It's symbolic, he explained. Riding the same elevator, but as completely different people. You're right, Catherine said. We're not the same people. Better people. Much better. When the doors opened on the top floor, Tyler knelt down. Catherine Bennett. Tyler, she exclaimed, bringing her hands to her chest. You taught me that true love is when someone chooses to stay by your side even knowing your flaws. Will you stay by mine forever? Catherine looked at the simple but beautiful ring he offered. Yes, of course, yes. Ms. Rose, who had been hiding behind them, began cheering with joy. My kids are getting married, my kids are getting married. The wedding was simple, but heartfelt. They held it in the common area of the first building they had built together. The whole community attended. Tyler wore the same black vest from his waiter's uniform, but this time by choice, as a symbol of humility. Catherine wore a plain white dress, understated. She wanted to look beautiful, but she wanted the focus to be on love, not extravagance. Do you promise to love, respect, and stand by each other forever? The Justice of the Peace asked. We do, they answered together. Then you may kiss as husband and wife. Their kiss was met with applause from hundreds of people moved by their story. Ms. Rose cried so much she had to sit down. My son found his princess, she told anyone who would listen, and she found her family. Catherine listened with a smile. Family. That was exactly what she had found. For their honeymoon, they went to a historic town in Vermont. Nothing luxurious, just a simple place where they could walk hand in hand and plan their future. Where does our company go from here? Catherine asked one evening on the inn's terrace. Wherever we want, Tyler replied. We have the freedom to choose projects that make a difference. And we have each other to share the responsibilities. And we have Ms. Rose to keep us grounded, Catherine laughed. Your mother is our moral compass. Exactly. Whenever we're unsure, we ask her. Great strategy. They fell silent, watching the stars. Catherine. Yes? Thank you for getting stuck in that elevator with me. Thank you for showing me that not every trap is bad. How so? Sometimes we need to be stuck in one place to break free from others. Tyler smiled. Another one of your wisdoms. Learned from the best teacher. My mother? Life. That's true. Life teaches more than any university, especially when we have the right people beside us to share the lessons. Tyler took her hand. Forever? Forever. 3 years later, Catherine and Tyler inaugurated their 5th social project, a rehabilitation center for people with heart conditions, just like the one Ms. Rose had attended. Ms. Rose, now 72 and in stable health, was the volunteer coordinator of the family support program. Who would have thought, she remarked during the opening, that my son would find the love of his life in the elevator of a fancy hotel? Fate works in mysterious ways, Catherine replied, watching Tyler talk with patience. It wasn't fate, dear. It was God bringing two people together who needed each other. Maybe. It definitely was. You saved each other. Catherine thought about it. It was true, Tyler had saved her from loneliness and bitterness. She had saved him from resignation and hopelessness. And now we're saving others, said Catherine. That's how true love works. It overflows and touches everyone around. Ms. Rose, you're so wise. I'm old, dear. Old age teaches you to separate what matters from nonsense. And what really matters? Family. Health. Having work you're proud of. And sleeping peacefully knowing the day was well lived. Catherine smiled. She had all that now. Are you happy? I'm fulfilled, dear. I raised a good son, gained a daughter of my heart, and see you both doing good for others. What more could an old woman want? Grandkids, Catherine teased. Ms. Rose widened her eyes. Are you telling me something? Catherine laughed. Not yet, but who knows soon. Oh my God, I'm going to be a grandma. Not yet, Ms. Rose, it's just a possibility. But are you trying? Catherine blushed. We're talking about it. How wonderful. Tyler will be an amazing father. He will. He learned from the best mother in the world. Ms. Rose got emotional. Thank you, dear. Thank you for giving my boy a complete family. Thank you for raising the man who taught me what real love is. They hugged, watching Tyler help an elderly man walk. He's special, said Ms. Rose. Yes, and he's mine, and you're ours. Forever. Forever. That night, Catherine and Tyler dined alone for the first time in weeks. Between projects, work, and family commitments, they rarely had time just for themselves. I missed this, said Catherine, pouring wine. Me too. Just talking, the two of us, without rushing. How does it feel to be a successful architect? Fulfilled, but more importantly, useful. And how does it feel being married to me? Tyler smiled. Grateful. Every morning I wake up grateful. Even when I'm stressed about deadlines. Especially then. That's when I most need to remind you you're loved. Catherine felt her eyes water. How are you so good to me? Because you deserve it. And because my mother taught me love is action, not just feeling. Your mother said something interesting today. What? That true love overflows and touches everyone around. She's right. Look how many lives our story has touched. It's true. Sometimes I get letters from people who heard our story and felt inspired to change something in their own lives. I get them too. It's amazing how our experience resonates with others. I think everyone has a broken elevator in life. What do you mean? Moments when we get stuck, forced to look inward, to talk to people we'd normally ignore. Tyler reflected on this. And most waste those moments complaining instead of using them. Exactly. We were lucky to have used ours. It wasn't luck, it was choice. We chose to be vulnerable, honest, open. True. And we keep choosing that every day. And we'll keep choosing it for the rest of our lives. Catherine raised her glass. To broken elevators. Tyler raised his, to life-changing conversations, to second chances, to chosen family, to true love, to us. They toasted, sealing once more their commitment to build a life full of purpose, love, and contribution to the world. End of story. So, dear listener, what did you think of this story of new beginnings and second chances? Have you ever been stuck in a situation that ended up changing your life for the better? Share your experience in the comments. Do you believe true love can blossom in the most unexpected moments? Leave your honest thoughts about Catherine and Tyler. Thank you so much for joining us on this emotional journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss other heartwarming stories.